Have you ever felt like the world is just against you? Like you're stuck in a place where everyone is cold, suspicious, and just plain difficult? Well, there's a fascinating story about a man named Adam who felt exactly that way, and what he discovered completely changed his life. Let's dive into his journey. Adam had just moved to a new town, hoping for a fresh start. But it didn't take long for his hopes to curdle. Everywhere he went, he felt a wall of suspicion and hostility. The shopkeepers seemed to watch him like a hawk. His new neighbors barely gave him a nod. And at work, his colleagues were distant and competitive. "What is wrong with this place?" he'd mutter to himself every night. "Why is everyone so untrusting and unfriendly?" He felt isolated, convinced he had moved into a town filled with cynical and cold-hearted people. He started building his own walls, becoming more reserved, more guarded, and more suspicious himself. After all, if that's how everyone else was, he had to protect himself, right? One sunny afternoon, feeling particularly down, Adam decided to take a walk to clear his head. He wandered off the main streets and found himself in a beautiful, sprawling community garden, bursting with color and life. In the middle of it all was an old man, patiently tending to his rose bushes. There was a peaceful, gentle air about him. Adam, desperate for any kind of positive interaction, approached him. "Excuse me," Adam began. "I'm new here. Can I ask you something about this town?" The old gardener looked up, his eyes crinkling at the corners as he smiled. "Of course, son. What's on your mind?" Taking a deep breath, Adam let it all out. "What's this town like? I've been here for a few weeks, and honestly, it feels harsh. People seem so suspicious, so unfriendly. It's like no one trusts anyone." The gardener listened patiently, not saying a word until Adam had finished. Then, he simply asked, "And what was your old town like?" Adam thought for a moment. "My old town. It was the same, really. People were always looking out for themselves. You couldn't trust anyone. That's why I left, hoping to find something better." The old gardener nodded slowly, a knowing look on his face. He gestured to a small watering can beside him. "You see this can?" he asked. "If I fill it with water, what will pour out when I tip it?" Adam looked at him, a bit confused by the question. "Water, of course." The gardener smiled. "Exactly. And if I fill it with vinegar, what will pour out?" "Vinegar," Adam replied, starting to see the glimmer of a point. "Precisely," the gardener said, his voice gentle but firm. "This town, your old town, any place you go, it's just like this watering can. It will pour back to you whatever you pour into it. You will find in the world what you carry in your own heart." Adam stood there, stunned. The gardener's simple words hit him with the force of a revelation. He had been carrying suspicion and distrust with him from his old town, and he had been pouring it out all over his new one. And in return, that's exactly what he was getting back. He had been so focused on how the world was treating him that he never stopped to consider what he was bringing to the world. He thanked the gardener, his mind racing. It was a simple lesson, yet profound. The world wasn't a fixed, external reality. It was a mirror. From that day on, Adam decided to conduct an experiment. He decided to intentionally change what he was pouring into his world. The next morning, instead of walking into the local coffee shop with his usual guarded expression, he held the door open for the person behind him and offered a genuine smile. He walked up to the counter and, instead of just grunting his order, he looked the barista in the eye and said, "Good morning. How's your day going so far?" The barista, initially taken aback, broke into a warm smile, and they shared a brief, pleasant chat. It was a small change, but it felt huge. At work, instead of keeping to himself and viewing his colleagues as rivals, he started offering help. He complimented a coworker on a well-done presentation. He brought in donuts for the team. He made an effort to ask people about their weekends and actually listen to their answers. At first, some people were still a bit reserved, surprised by his sudden change in demeanor. But Adam persisted. He wasn't doing it to get something in return. He was doing it because he was changing his own inner state. He was choosing to pour kindness and trust into his world. Slowly but surely, the mirror started to reflect a different image. His neighbors, the ones who used to just give him a curt nod, started waving and saying hello. One even invited him over for a barbecue. The shopkeeper, who he once thought was watching him with suspicion, struck up a conversation about the weather and recommended a local hiking trail. His colleagues at work began to include him in their lunch plans and brainstorming sessions. The office atmosphere, which he had perceived as cold and competitive, started to feel more collaborative and supportive. Adam's reality was transforming before his very eyes. But the town hadn't changed. The people hadn't changed. Adam had changed. He had stopped seeing the world as a hostile place he needed to defend himself from, and started seeing it as a garden he could cultivate. By planting seeds of kindness, trust, and openness, he was now reaping a harvest of friendship, connection, and belonging. He realized the gardener was right. The world doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. This story holds a powerful lesson for all of us. How often do we blame our circumstances, our jobs, our cities, or the people around us for our unhappiness? We say, "I'll be happy when I get a new job," or "I'll be more open when I meet nicer people." But Adam's story teaches us that it works the other way around. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. Our perception is a projection. If we carry anger and resentment within us, we will find things to be angry and resentful about. If we carry judgment and suspicion, we will find people who seem untrustworthy. But the opposite is also true. If we consciously cultivate peace, kindness, and trust within ourselves, we start to see those qualities reflected back at us in the world. It's about taking radical responsibility for our own experience. It's not about ignoring real problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about understanding that our inner state is the filter through which we experience everything. So, I invite you to try Adam's experiment in your own life. Think about what you're pouring into your world each day. Are you pouring judgment, or are you pouring understanding? Are you pouring fear, or are you pouring trust? Are you pouring complaint, or are you pouring gratitude? Try making a small, conscious shift. Offer a genuine compliment. Assume the best in someone. Go into a situation with an open heart instead of a guarded one. See what happens. You might just be amazed at how quickly the world begins to change, not because it has changed, but because you have. You are the gardener of your own reality. What will you choose to plant today? Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that helps you build a better inner and outer world. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What are you choosing to pour into your world this week? Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.